Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to share with you what's becoming one of my favorite stories about Jesus. It's in John chapter 11, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why I love it so much. But in this chapter, one of Jesus's closest friends, Lazarus, has died, and it's just a very emotional time for everybody involved. And so I'd like to start reading in verse 20. It says, "As soon as Martha heard that Jesus was coming," Martha is Lazarus's sister, by the way, she went to meet him, Jesus, but Mary, Martha's other sister, remained seated in the house. Then Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Yet even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Your brother will rise again," Jesus told her. Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me, even if he dies, will live. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she told him. "I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who comes into the world." Having said this, she went back and called her sister Mary, saying in private, "The teacher is here and calling for you." As soon as Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house consoling her saw that Mary got up quickly and went out. They followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to cry there. As soon as Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and told him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her crying and the Jews who had come with her crying, he was deeply moved in his spirit and troubled. He asked, "Where have you put him?" "Lord," they told him, "come and see." Jesus wept. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Couldn't he who opened the blind man's eyes also have kept this man from dying?" Aren't they about to be shocked? Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. "Remove the stone," Jesus said. Martha, the dead man's sister, told him, "Lord, there is already a stench because he's been dead for 4 days." He didn't want to open up that tomb. It's going to smell so bad. Jesus said to her, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they removed the stone. Then Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you heard me. I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd standing here, I said this so that they may believe you sent me." After he said this, he shouted with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out bound hand and foot with linen strips and with his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unwrap him and let him go." I just love that story because it just shows us so much about the person of Jesus. Verse 35, it's one of the shortest, it is the shortest verse in the whole Bible. Jesus wept. And it tells me, Jesus was the Son of God, but he was also human. He understood every single emotion that we could ever experience, especially in the midst of a trying time, this death of a close friend, suffering. He knows everything. I talked to you with you all earlier this week about Job and suffering, and one of the main things that we're tempted to do and that the enemy likes to do when we're going through something difficult is to make us feel alone. And I'm here to tell you this morning that you're never alone. You've got a wonderful church family and hopefully a physical family with you too. But if you don't have that, you always have Jesus. And what's so incredible about him is that he understands. He is not afraid of our emotions. In fact, I feel like when we go through difficult things, he wants us to come to him. The Bible says, that we can come to him and he will give us rest. Come to him with our burdens. He will give us rest and peace. And that's just so wonderful to me. And this story also tells us that Jesus has power over death. He has power to raise the dead back to life, but he also rose from the grave himself. And we have that same hope because of him. The same power that rose Jesus from the grave lives inside you and me. And because of that, we have hope. Whatever we face in this life, it's nothing compared to what Jesus went through. And therefore, we have hope that he is going to be with us. He's going to see us through. And I just hope that encourages you this morning. It really has been encouraging for me. If Jesus is on our side, who can be against us? So just remember that as you're going through this week. I know there's a lot of trying stuff going on right now, but remember, God is for you. Jesus is on your side, and because of that, we always have hope. I hope you all are staying well, staying safe. I love you. God bless.